Good evening, everybody. It is your friendly neighborhood college and career counselor, Mr. Cook, here for our CCLR corner for tonight, our first one for October. If you've been with us for a while, you know that we do these live. We record every session so that you can get back to those should you not be able to attend. And we'll get into how you can do that. But I want to welcome our Osceola County folks, our Broward folks, and any other districts that may be on tonight. As you can see, we're going to be focusing on a program that's very near and dear to our hearts, identified as the Sunrise Scholars Program. So before I hand it off to the big dog of this, I'm going to run through some housekeeping items, and then we'll get into tonight's presentation. So first and foremost, I just want, as I said to y'all, these are recorded and they're also live. Those of you that are on, obviously you got here because you selected the live option. But if you, for any reason, want to go back to this one or go back to any other ones that we've had, you can scan this QR code on your screen. This will take you to my website on our district page. And as you can see, it'll drop you right here to our college and career life readiness corners. And all you would have to do is select the topic that you want to see the presentation on. If you scroll down further on this page, it'll bring you to our previous month, September. We had some presentations, which we do every Wednesday, so you can go revisit those. Should you not want to use the flyer, I like to give you options. There's always an expansion list down low that you can go to and select the live links that will take you into the recorded sessions. And for future sessions, if you select those links, it'll bring you into the live session. In addition to that, this is live, so we do Q&A. Whoever is on and presenting, I tend to refer to them as the content experts. So this is your opportunity to ask them any questions as it relates to their presentation or any question as it may relate to college and career life readiness, because we tend to be able to answer most of those questions. So if you have any questions, I want to encourage you to use the Q&A tab that you'll find at the top right of your screen. You can type in those questions. I'll be funneling those questions to our presenter this evening, and if there are questions that aren't pertinent to him, I'll be answering them on the back end. So just so you know, it comes to us privately. The public doesn't see that. I tend to answer them privately unless it's a question that I see keep coming up, and then I'll push it public so that everybody can see it and we know to address that towards the end of the presentation. And with that being said, we will have some time towards the end. Should we not get to all the questions, we'll be able to answer your questions at the very end. So just be patient with us. If you're putting in questions, we will get to them. In addition to Q&A, tonight's presentation is brought to you in closed captioning. So those of you that might be hearing impaired, I want to encourage you to select the CC logo that's at the bottom right of your screen. And those of you that might be here that speak a different language and you want to kind of read along in your native tongue, we are offering tonight's presentation in Arabic, English, French, Haitian, Creole, Portuguese, and Spanish. So select the logo if you want to read along. If English is not your native language and you want to read in your native language, and for those of you that are hearing impaired, you want to make sure that you have that opportunity to follow along with us this evening. If you're new to us, I want to make sure that I explain this to you. We are a 4E district. We refer to it as SDOC 4E, the School District of Osceola County's 4E. And what we mean by that is once a student graduates, there are 4 pathways that they're going to essentially fall into. It's going to either be enrollment. They're enrolling into a 2-year, 4-year technical vocational college. That's the traditional sense of college that we normally refer to. In addition to enrollment, we have enlistment. Students will graduate, they'll enlist into the military. They might graduate and seek employment, or they may graduate and take that intentional gap year, which we refer to as expiration. And no, this is not sitting at home on your mama's couch eating blue Takis, playing Call of Duty. That's not what we're talking about with an intentional gap year. We're talking about you working with some organizations that we partner with, AmeriCorps, Job Corps, Virtual Education, that'll give you an intentional gap year to help you identify your passions more readily so that you can come back to one of these other 3 E's. But tonight, we're focusing on the enrollment. And really what we're focusing on is 4-year enrollment. So that traditional enrolling into a 4-year college, you want to take some time and present a program that will help assist you in this process. So with that being said, I'm going to step back and we're going to let our presenter jump on. This is Mr. Ken Summers. I refer to him as the top dog. He is the founder of this program. He'll get into the history behind it and all the components of it to help your child or to help you students advance on to a four-year college. So with that being said, Ken, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you, Anthony Cook, #1 friend of the Sunrise Scholars Foundation. And appreciate having this opportunity tonight to connect with folks from Osceola and Broward counties. The top dog nickname is nice, but I'm presenting from my basement tonight, so that doesn't really make me feel like a top dog. So as you'll find out, we're a very humble grassroots organization. And even if our program that I present tonight may not be the right fit for you, I'm hoping you get two things out of it beyond that. And the first is maybe there are opportunities for me beyond the state of Florida. I think in Florida, we have a tendency to focus on Bright Futures or the local community college. The reality is there are over 4,000 colleges and universities across the nation. I'm pretty sure there are some that might be a decent fit for you if you're willing to do the research. And then second, I'm always here as a resource. You can go to sunrisescholars.org and grab my email if you ever have a question. We're not here to strictly serve our scholars, right? We're here to provide a public service, which is really to hopefully propel our mission forward, which is that we envision a college placement environment that's based on talent, impact, and community character, right? Not the color of your skin, not the zip code you're born in, not who your parents are. And so if there's any way we can help support you along your journey and lift you up to access amazing opportunities, we're happy to do so. So with that, as Anthony mentioned, I am the CEO and co-founder of the Sunrise Scholars Foundation. And our mission is to provide college counseling and mentoring to high achieving, low income, underrepresented students from across the state of Florida. And so, you know, the question may be, why did you decide to devote your life's work to this? Well, I had worked in education along with my co-founder for over 30 years in college counseling, in advising as a coach and as a teacher, and increasingly working at an affluent prep school. My co-founder and I, Jake Harding, became disillusioned that we were just providing additional services to populations that didn't need it. And so we started digging into the statistics to see where we could make an impact on our Florida community. And so there are a couple statistics I want to share with you briefly, because it may refer to you, and I want this to be an opportunity for empowerment. So the first is the ACT, which provides a test like the SAT, states that each year there are 90,000 students across the United States that have an average of 27.6 or higher on the ACT, which is very good. They pass all 4 college readiness metrics, yet they do not go to college, right? So that's 90,000 really bright kids that aren't accessing college each year. Beyond that, we believe that most of those students are low-income students. So if you look at the most selective colleges in the United States, the Swarthmores, the Harvards, the Muhlenbergs, the Colgates, the Emorys, 74% of their students come from the top quartile of income. 3% come from the lowest quartile of income. So obviously it is a skewed system towards the affluent. And one of the questions we ask is, why is this the case? And if you look at guidance counselor ratios across the state of Florida, many are probably living this, they're 477 to 1. Right. And that's after scheduling, testing, and discipline. So these guidance counselors are amazing people, but they're overworked and they don't have the time to individualize their college counseling advice. So typically it comes in the form of apply to the public colleges, apply to the community college, and that's your best bet. So our foundation, therefore, as a result, tries to select high achieving, low income, underrepresented students, and we try to help them get to and through college. So who qualifies to become a Sunrise Scholar? Well, as you'll see, and Anthony has the 2 perfect slides up right now, Sunrise Scholars are very high achieving academically, right? I think our scholars range anywhere from a 3.5 to a 4.0, with the mean GPA being a 3.83. In addition, typically they're high need in terms of wealth, right? So federal free and reduced lunch is a great benchmark for us. If your family makes less than $60,000 a year, you're probably eligible to become a Sunrise Scholar. And so this is an important piece. Why are we looking for the highest achieving low income students? Across the nation, there are 80 to 100 schools that are called 100% need med schools. And this is really at the heart of what we do. And so being 100% need med school like Harvard, Yale, Hamilton, Wesleyan, Occidental means that they have enough money in their bank account that they will meet full need of anybody that needs it. So I'm sure Anthony's going to be talking about FAFSA season. Well, if your FAFSA comes back with an estimated family contribution, right? The estimated family contribution is how much the federal government thinks you should pay, right? So let's say your family makes $50,000, $60,000. Your estimated family contribution is probably going to be between $0 and $5,000. That's what the federal government thinks you can pay. These schools, even though they cost $75,000 to $80,000 a year, will meet your full need, right? So if your EFC is 0, you will pay nothing for tuition, room, and board. If your EFC is $3,000, you will pay $3,000 for room, tuition, and board. So if that school is $75,000 a year, it doesn't matter, right? They're going to give you $72,000 or $75,000 in grants each year. And so not only are they incredibly generous schools, and I can provide a list of these schools to anybody who wants it, or through Anthony, but they're also schools that provide a very unique on-campus residential atmosphere, right, where you're building community, and as a result, have much higher graduation rates than the majority of Florida in-state options. So having said that, that's our model. Later on, I'll reveal where scholars wind up going and how much money they wind up receiving. But in January of this year, if this sounds like something you might be interested in, we will put out our application. We'll give it to Anthony and others within the Osceola and Broward communities, and they'll hopefully spread the word, or you can also go to our website, sunrisescholars.org, and you can access our application. It should take no more than 30 to 45 minutes to fill out. The essay questions are actually fun now. You know, like what playlist would you make for us? What would you cook for dinner if you had, you know, guests over? Fun stuff like that. Because we really want to get to know you. We don't want the stock canned answers. We want to work with people that we like. And so we'll take a look at your application. Typically, I think this past year we had about 200 applications. Ultimately, we had 40 that were semifinalists, which means you receive an interview, which is typically late March, early April. And then from there, after your interview, we'll name somewhere between 25 and 30 scholars. This last year was a little bit smaller. It was 21, but we've been as large as 29. So if you think you have a chance, I would highly recommend applying. And again, we're not looking for geniuses. We're looking for smart, dedicated kids, but we really want, you know, character and community impact and people that are going to use this opportunity to positively affect their community in the future. If you are selected as a Sunrise Scholar, then from there, I want to kind of lay out our menu of services that we provide. And I think key data point, you will not pay a cent for any of this. We estimate that we spend about $12,000 in providing services to Sunrise Scholars over the course of their senior year. And we believe that providing these services is more effective, and we're going to prove that to you, than providing you $12,000 in scholarship money. So the first thing you'll do is you'll go to a summer symposium with your fellow scholars at Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida. So this will be 4 days, 3 nights. We'll pay for your transportation there. You'll meet your other scholars. You'll meet our staff. You'll meet your mentors, who are Sunrise Scholars that will be 2 years older, that have gone through the very same experience you'll be going through. This is part camp, rah, rah, we're going to be great. We're forming great connections. And it's part boot camp, right? Which is, here's what you need to know about the college process. And we go into a lot more depth about these out-of-state schools that can really fund your education and transform your lives. We have nothing against the state of Florida, full disclosure. Amazing higher education environment here, right? It's often ranked the best public higher education environment in the nation, and we agree. We think it's incredible. Go Gators, go Noles. But we also want to make sure that at this critical moment in your life, you're exploring everything else, right? We have scholars that wind up at University of Florida Honors, as you'll see, and we're thrilled about it. But there's so much groupthink around only looking at Florida options, frankly, that I typically tend to anchor on the other side to really push the out-of-state piece just to open people's minds. So anyway, so that's what the symposium will be about. At the symposium, we also receive an iPad with a data plan to ensure that there are no technological barriers to researching and applying to colleges. Also just kind of fun to play around on the iPad. If you need a Wi-Fi plan, we'll provide that as well, right? We're about removing barriers, not creating them. Over the summer, you'll receive 12 hours of free SAT preparation through Revolution Prep. That will be done via your iPad. We've received a lot of SAT scores from scholars recently, and they're improving anywhere between 100 and 150 points. So that's fantastic. After that's done, we'll start your college counseling, your individualized college counseling in September. So this is where we get to know you, your dreams. Where do you see yourself being the best academic version of you? And we'll ask you a bunch of questions about kind of what you want out of your college experience. From there, we'll start to put together your common application. We'll work with you on your essays. We'll help you through the FAFSA if there are questions and issues. We'll help you through additional financial vetting that may come, so that hopefully by January 1st, you've applied to 10 to 15 colleges, and you can put your process to rest then and there while everybody else is stressing. Kick back, relax, and wait until the acceptances and financial aid packages come in March and April, which is really an exciting time. When you receive those, we'll make a list of the schools you were accepted to, financial aid that you received, how much you're going to be paying out of pocket, what the graduation rates are, and talk through each of them with you and with your parents if they want to be a part of the process. And then you're off to college, which is pretty darn exciting. We have 27 scholars that have arrived at their new homes this past year. And maybe Anthony, we can flip to the next slide, please. And so what are those colleges, right? And some of you may be like, geez, I've never heard of some of these colleges. Well, again, I think we live in a fairly insulated higher education environment in the state of Florida. First, because it's a great public education environment and private education environment. And second, just because I think a lot of times people aren't willing to look beyond that. So we have Carnegie Mellon, as you'll see, is one of the best engineering schools in the nation, as is Case Western. Colgate is a top 25 liberal arts college, as is Davidson. Dartmouth is an Ivy League school. Georgetown, one of my alma maters, go Hoyas. Haverford, Lehigh, Middlebury, Muhlenberg, University of Chicago, Washington University, and Williams, which is basically the Harvard of the small school kind of ecosystem. So that's where scholars wind up going. And there are a couple key points here, right? The first is that if you look at these 27 scholars that have accessed these schools cost $75,000 to $80,000 a year. Yet, and I was the guy who did the math on this, so I can prove this is true. Scholars on average received $292,000 each in grant support from that institution, right? So you're looking at $70,000 plus each year a college is going to give to you to fund a world-class education. Oh, by the way, right? You can also go abroad for the same price that you're paying to go to that college. So we have, I don't want to oversell this, but I'm going to say half of our scholars have tuition, room, and board free, and maybe even a couple dollars coming into their pocket. That means that at these schools, if they want to go to Italy or France, they're paying the same amount. They're paying nothing to go to Italy or France. These schools are wildly supportive. So what's the catch, you say? Why are they so wildly supportive? Well, back to my earlier point, these are predominantly white institutions that have predominantly affluent students, and colleges realize that we need a socioeconomically and racially and ethnically diverse campus to provide the best possible experience for our students. And that's why they're providing this, right? Colleges have egalitarian aspirations, right? They want to be places of access and places that can uplift students. And so they don't want price tag to be an obstacle if they can afford it. And there are a lot of schools that can, those 80 to 100 schools. So there you go. That's the amazing news that if you're a high achieving low income student, you can access these schools and they're going to give you a lot of money. That's the first thing. The second thing is, even if you don't become a Sunrise Scholar, Google, and you're a high achieving low income student, literally Google 100% need met schools and you'll see a list of them and you can start researching them. If you want to do research, $19.99. If you're a scholar, you get it for free. It sounds like an infomercial late at night. $19.99. If you're a scholar, you get it for free. But it provides great information in about 3 pages on colleges. And you can cross-reference the 100% need met list with your FIS guide and create a list of your own with your amazing county college and career counselor. So one of the initial kind of aha moments we had is we felt pretty good about providing college counseling to allow kids to access some of these, as Anthony would call them, kind of top 100 universities and colleges in the nation. But we also realized that we were missing the second piece, which is mentoring and ongoing support, right? By the very nature of being high achieving, low income, possibly a student of color, right? Social integration may be a little bit more challenging at these colleges and universities. So we provide a mentoring program. We have a director of college success, Sierra Dickerson, who herself is a high achieving low income student that went to 100% need met school, Boston College, and she runs this program, right? We wanted a student of color who had lived this experience that was closer to it to run this program, not to 40-year-old white guys who are kind of just really separated from that experience. And so she has an amazing team of mentors that are former Sunrise Scholars, and they'll provide support to you on more of a peer basis. You'll have, once a semester, you'll have a group meeting with your entire cohort of scholars that you will have gotten to know way back when at the summer symposium at Eckerd. You guys will stay tight, right? Because you're living the same experience. So you can support each other through those group meetings. You'll also have a small family of 7 to 8 scholars. And so this is a group that you'll do bonding with over the course of your senior year and at the summer symposium, where you can have those smaller, more intimate discussions. And then you'll also have a one-on-one, which is just, hey, checking in, how are things going? We talked about, some struggles with financial aid or some struggles with finding activities that spoke to you. Where's that going? Can we help provide access? But wait, there's more. Speaking of that late night infomercial, if you are a Sunrise Scholar, we feel very strongly about mental health support. From the moment you become a Sunrise Scholar till the end of your college career, if you feel you need it, we will provide mental health counseling online through BetterHelp. So that's an additional benefit of our program. And then the final piece is additional financial support. So for each year in college, we will send you a check for $750, best deal in America. And that is really to defray your soft costs. So let's say you go to Georgetown up in Washington, D.C., and it starts snowing and you haven't been in snow and you don't have any boots and you don't have a jacket and you don't have a hat. You can use that $750 to accessorize yourself, have some fun, go out shopping. We also want you to use it for buying, going out to dinner, right? If people are going out to dinner, use that money to integrate with your fellow students. And then finally, what I think is the kicker is we spoke a little bit about the ability of these schools, 100% need met schools out of state, to provide study abroad experiences at little or no cost to high achieving low income students. If you go abroad, we'll give you another $750 because we feel so strongly that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to truly open up the world, and we want to make sure you're accessing those experiences. So having said that, to recap, and I know I sound a little bit like a broken record, but if you are a high achieving low income student, number one, apply to Sunrise Scholars, right? We'd love to help open up all of the opportunities that we know are available out there to you because we've been doing this for years. Two, even if you don't become a Sunrise Scholar, please look at out-of-state opportunities. They are there, right? And that can complement all of the amazing in-state opportunities we have here in Florida. But why limit, if you're looking to enrollment as one of your 4 E's, why limit yourself at that moment of access? Why not look for all the options out there? And if they don't work, they don't work, right? You have a great place to land back home here in Florida, but go have some fun, explore. And then finally, I am here. I've offered this a lot and I rarely get it, but if you're like, hey, Ken, can you send me the list of 100% need med schools? Yeah, like that excites me. Keep me posted. What do you think I should be looking at? Here's what I want to do. Can you list a couple schools? I'd love to research it. So engage us. We're psyched to help the community beyond Sunrise Scholars. And again, maybe this is an appropriate place to end. In Osceola County, specifically of our 68 scholars to date, Osceola County has 18 of our 68 scholars, which I was always terrible at math, but I do know that's more than 25%. So we love working with you and your schools, Anthony. And with that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Yeah, we have a few that come up pretty consistently. We just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page, right? So one of the phrases that you use quite often is high achieving. So on the tail end, just to recap, what does that mean for a student and or a family when we say high achieving? What are we looking for?
Yeah. Okay. So I am merely the messenger on this, so don't get mad at me if you don't like the answer. But when we say high achieving students, we mean students with the grades. I'm going to give you it's going to be kind of a legal explanation and then I'll simplify it. But when we say high achieving student, we mean students with the grades that can access these private colleges that will give them a lot of money. And generally speaking, I think unweighted, that's 3.5 or above. Don't hold me to it. If you're a world-class anything, and maybe your GPA is lower than that, I wouldn't let it stop you. Or if you have a compelling story, I wouldn't let it stop you, even down to a 3.3. But that would be my definition for high achieving academically.
Does test scores, SAT, ACT come into play with that?
Okay, so great. I love this question. And we look at SATs when we ask for your application, we don't care. And you say, why don't you care? Because every single, I think I have this right because I read about this last week, every single public higher education system in the United States outside of the state of Florida no longer looks at test scores because there was a movement towards that. And then with COVID, people said, this is unfair. We're getting rid of them temporarily. Every school our scholars have applied to, with maybe the exception of 1 or 2 out of state, are test optional now. So I wouldn't, if your test scores are low, but you're a great student, you're living in the right time because you can access these schools without having those high test scores. Additionally, with Florida looking at test scores, right? You could be a 4.0 student, but if your test scores are low, you can't access Bright Futures. Maybe you can't access the higher education system at the school you want. If you're that type of student, looking out of state makes even that much more sense.
Now, the GPA 3, if it's just GPA, this just happens, Ken. So I'm asking these questions out loud.
Yeah.
Because I know there's some nuances to this. 3.5 or higher GPA, what does that mean as far as your strength of schedule throughout high school?
Okay, so phenomenal question. Again, our model is to try and have you access, again, Anthony's words, top 100 colleges and universities across the nation. they're going to want academic rigor. So, you know, our rule of thumb based on some research is don't take more than 7 APs because colleges don't care. And it already shows that you're college ready. But, you know, I think you want some honors classes in there, an AP or two as kind of a floor to access, you know, these top 100 colleges, which usually wind up being the schools that are 100% need med as well. Did that answer it, Anthony?
Yeah. Because that comes up quite often, right? You'll have students that are taking regular courses or just honors courses, but really what we're saying is you want to mix in some AP coursework in there, or and here's the nuance, right? Ken, you might be at a school where maybe they don't offer AP and such. So what do those students do?
So I was literally just going to say that. So we have students, for example, that are migrant students, right? So they're from very rural schools that don't provide those classes. And so two things. First, in every common application, the counselor writes a recommendation. And that recommendation should shed light on the opportunities your school provides. Colleges, particularly, another important point, these smaller private colleges have the opportunity to dig in to your application holistically, right? Mm-hmm. So they're going to look at your grade, they're going to look at your classes and say, okay, let's look at the school profile. This student's doing the best they can. We can't punish them for that. It's not their fault. At some of the larger universities, they don't have the time to do it. It's more of a numbers crunch. So, you know, do the best you can at your school. And again, enjoy high school, right? Do what you love, have fun doing it, do your best, work hard. And if you're doing that, you know, you're going to have your best outcome. And, you know, we've kind of talked about the parameters of rigor and GPA and activities and community impact. If that's close, and you can reach out to me and be like, hey, Ken, am I close? Why not try? You know, again, if you are a low income student or you qualify for federal free and reduced lunch, you use the Common App, you receive Common App application waivers. So you have 20 applications you can file on the Common App. You won't pay a cent to apply to 20 schools.
I see you. I see how you work that in. I like it. I like it. And then the other criteria that you were referencing was low income, right? And you just now said it. If you qualify for grant money, but if I'm not mistaken, you apply for Sunrise Scholars as a junior, right? So how could a family determine if they would fall into that low income bracket?
So yeah, shame on me. I did a terrible job I got so excited to jump to the programming. I forgot to mention that you apply to the program as a junior. So January 1st of your junior year through typically March 15th, our application is open, and then you'll be selected in the spring of your senior year, so your junior year, should you become a Sunrise Scholar. So that's the first piece. The second piece, without digging too deeply into some of our organizational history, is initially we thought, hey, you qualify for federal free and reduced lunch, you will be seen as a low income student. We've learned the hard way that students that qualify for federal free and reduced lunch have had second homes literally worth $1 million. Mm-hmm. Have had families that make $150,000. So we've changed our criteria. And so here are the two ways we measure that. The first is, and I know I've given a lot of technical advice and it's too technical, but maybe there's some people that are really hungry for it as well. If you go to any college in the United States, type in that college name and type in net price calculator, okay? And maybe do it at a Harvard, right? Because you know they're 100% need met. Put your information in and it will show you how much grant aid a Harvard will give you. Basically how much grant aid a 100% need met school will give you. So if you think you can access one of these really selective private colleges, here's a great way to just go on. And it literally, Harvard takes 3 minutes on their net price calculator, and they'll say, this is how much we think you're going to pay to go to 100% need med school. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, unfortunately, and it's not prying, it's just a proxy for the process you will go through. We ask about family income and we ask about family assets. And the only reason we do that is because we want to select students that we can best serve to get into these colleges and universities. And maybe I'll just finish that thought, Anthony. So as a general rule of thumb, low income, $50,000 or below if you're the only child, $70,000 or below if there are 4 children, somewhere within that range.
So 50K and below only child, yeah. 70K and below if there are multiple siblings.
Yes, as a general rule of thumb. Yeah. And particularly if there's a sibling in college, that they will provide additional discounting because they know mom and dad are paying for 2.
Right. All right. Okay. So, and you just said this, so I want to make sure the people that are on are catching this. One of our family members who's on here quite often because they shouted me out. They said, I guess on the website, they looked it up. It's still showing January 1st, 2022 to March 15, 22 as far as the application. It's just not updated because we're not close to that time. So, am I correct?
Yeah. So love that. Whoever went on our website, you're awesome, right? And that's demonstrating interest, right? Like showing that you're interested in the program. So we keep that closed until January 1st of 2023 when we will open it, just because we don't want people applying early. We want a compact 2.5-month application zone so we can focus on everybody simultaneously and know our pool of applicants.
Which also, I think you and I were talking about this last night, that also mirrors what happens during application season, right? When we get back to school, high school, so to speak, August, if there's a slow run, but really September to about November 1st, it is go time for seniors. So them applying as juniors in that 2-month span kind of mirrors what happens when they have to start applying for colleges come senior year, right?
It does, yeah. And in many ways we are a simplified proxy or middleman for accessing colleges, right? If you come through us, there are no guarantees, but if you come through us, it's a pretty good sign that you're going to go to a pretty good college and not pay a lot. So that's kind of how our system is created.
Okay, couple more questions I have for you. You mentioned this, so this came up. You talked about you want to give this to students who are going to invest back in the community and things like that. And you said this, but I just want to make sure people catch this. Does community service come into play as it relates to them applying to Sunrise Scholars?
So 100%. So let me come back to a term that I didn't fully explain, and it's called holistic review. And actually, if you're paying attention to the Supreme Court, which I don't know if you are, if you're in high school, you probably have better things to worry about, but this is going to be a big term in the next few months. So holistic review means a college, typically a smaller college with a lot of resources and admissions rep, is going to read your entire application, and they're going to spend 30 minutes getting to know your file intimately. And so you're going to create a complete portrait of yourself. On the common application, you list 10 activities. That's an incredible way for a college to know how deeply involved you are in your community, to see if you're the type of person they want to make an impact in their college community. So that's the first thing. The second thing, full disclosure, is in terms of becoming a Sunrise Scholar, not only will we view that positively, but we're going to ask you in your interview, what do you want to do with a world-class education? And frankly, if you say I want to go out to fancy dinners and buy really nice clothes and get a nice car and a lot of boats, I respect that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the American way. But not really an inspiring way for us to spend our resources. So if you're modeling that you want to make a community impact, and then you say you want to make a community impact, we're pretty psyched about that. Also, corollary, if you take care of little brothers and sisters, that is huge. Don't think like, oh, I'm not the captain of the track team, or I'm not the head of the chess club. If you're coming home and you're cooking and cleaning and helping younger siblings for 3 hours with homework, that is the best activity, period, right? Dedication to family, responsibility, and hard work. I mean, anybody who's done that knows it's hard work. So absolutely list that on our application and any college application.
And then 2 questions. I was hoping this one came up. What advice would you give to underclassmen, freshmen through that first semester of junior year to put themselves in position to be able to be a part of a program like this, or to pursue one of these top 100 academically competitive schools?
At risk of oversimplifying, do well academically. Do well academically. That's the only thing. Poor grades is the only thing that can truly disqualify you from getting a look from one of these schools. And that, again, I just want to state that doesn't mean stay up till 3 a.m. because you got to get an A. That means do your best. Hopefully it's A's and B's. If there are blips along the way, right? I got a C in biology my sophomore year. What did I learn from that? And here's how I improved going forward, right? So you're gonna, I mean, I'm human. I slip up every week, every day. That's gonna happen in high school. Don't crush yourself over it. Just say, what did I learn? How can I improve from here? And keep going. And that story will come out in your college application. So don't be disheartened. Even if you had a slow freshman year, you're like, oh man, Ken said I can go to Georgetown, and now I realize I had a D, because I was screwing around with my buddies in freshman trig. That's fine. Turn it around, right? The stories of improvement and maturity are far more compelling than the, mediocrity, and then I slipped stories. So just keep building. And oh, by the way, the byproduct is, regardless of college, you've become a better, stronger, smarter person, which is even more important.
Great answer. Last question that came through is, you mentioned AP. We talked a little bit about strength of schedule, but we got people on here asking specifically, how do Sunrise Scholars view students that are taking DE courses?
So DE is great question. Yep. So we view DE as okay. Sorry, I got excited there and started speaking before I had a clear thought in my head. 30 to 40% of Sunrise Scholars are dual enrollment students, because again, back to the individual school profile, they're from schools that pluck the best and brightest when they're sophomores to go do early college or dual enrollment. We have no problem with it. We know how to package it. We know how to sell it. Even beyond that, colleges that are recruiting in Florida are savvy enough to know the ecosystem here, and will absolutely view those as advanced courses. And again, you doing the best you can do within your school community.
Rock with that. I can rock with that. Ken, stay on. I'm going to go to the last slide that I talked about, that is just going to give some people updates on FAFSA and how they can stay connected and such. And if questions come through, then we'll fill those questions. If not, I typically give them like a minute of wait time. So it might get a little awkward because we're going to be silent. Just if there are any lingering questions, and then I'll close this out. So just stick with us. Stick with us. So we talked about, as seniors especially, receiving Pell Grants. So as I always say to everybody, this is our first line of offense as it relates to pursuing a post-secondary education. The first thing that you want to do to get money is get your FAFSA done. And we have some live sessions just to give y'all some perspective. Our first one last year at the same time that we had close to 1,000 people on and got 700 FAFSAs completed. So we want to make sure those of you who need assistance, because we know there are people on here not just in Osceola County, you have access to this. You can come on October 12th, which is next Wednesday, 6 o'clock. We'll get you from beginning to end of your FAFSA, make sure it's done correctly. That way there's no hiccups in the distribution of money for you. And Max Pell Grant is close to $7,000 right now. So this is how you get your foot in the door. This is how you secure the bag, so to speak. This is free money. So we want to make sure you do that. If you select the QR code on the screen, this will take you to the website where you can select the click to join link under the date that night of the event. Very similar to what you did tonight. It'll drop you into the live session, and we'll have people that'll be on that will help guide you through getting your FAFSA completed. So we want to make sure that you know that that resource is available for you. In addition to that, a couple of last things towards the end here. Bottom left corner, that's a survey that I need y'all to do. This helps me help you. Things that you liked about tonight, things that you didn't like, topics that you want to see. That way we can revisit those as we move forward with the remainder of the year. So I just asked you to fill that out. It's about 7 questions. It ain't gonna take you but a couple of minutes to get that done while we're still on. Upper right-hand corner, you have another QR code that'll take you to my website, the home page of the website, not just the CCLR corner. So you'll find resources on all of the 4 E's, resources on our college and career platform, Zello, scholarship information, FAFSA information, Bright Futures information. So anything that you can think of CCLR related, you'll be able to find there on the website. And if you haven't already done so, y'all need to join the party. Follow me on social media at Friendly Neighborhood CCC. Instagram is really where we get things popping. The hurricane kind of put a halt to our college and career week, so we're running it back the week of October 24th. The best way for me to get y'all prizes and things for that week, for our themed days, for our most spirited schools, our most spirited students, is for y'all to post those pictures, tag me in it. But I also will scour Facebook, so you can see my tag there, as well as Twitter. You can see my tag there. Seniors, we got incentives going on that started this month. That will be every month. We have 10 $50 Amazon gift cards if you get your acceptances turned into your college and career counselor, and proof of your FAFSA being completed to your college and career counselor. I pull those names at the end of the month, and I'll distribute those gift cards to you the first week of the next month. So just know that that's there ready for y'all once y'all get your stuff done. Any of the 4 E's, enrolling to a 2-year, 4-year technical, showing proof of enlistment, showing evidence of employment, or if you're working with one of our expiration organizations, that will count. And then your confirmation page for your FAFSA being done, that will count. Okay. So with that being said, I see that there's one more question. Let me check that out. Fill that to Ken. And here we go. Is FAFSA application too early as a junior? Ken, this is a pretty common question that's asked. So tell the people when they can get their FAFSA done.
Yeah, so I love the proactive thinking, right? So kudos for that. But the FAFSA, which is why Anthony's alluding to it right now, the FAFSA opens October 1st of your senior year.
Yeah, so y'all can't touch it until October 1st, senior year.
But again, if you're looking for a proxy for the FAFSA, and if you think you could, access these selective schools that provide a lot of money, take a look at a few net price calculators and see how much that would cost you, and then compare it to a couple of the local public net price calculators, and it gives you a general idea. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll give you a general idea.
Oh, now more questions are coming in. Hold on now. Oh, cool. They just responded. Cool. Yeah, we like that the juniors want to get in on that, but like we said, you can't really touch it till senior year, but you can check out these net price calculators and kind of get you an idea of that. So I'm gonna give y'all about a minute of wait time. Y'all know I ain't scared of the silence.
Former teacher, I love the awkward sounds.
Oh yeah. I'll sit in that all day. And what's the website for Sunrise Scholars? I'll drop it in the chat for everybody.
Sure, it's sunrisescholars.org. And again, not to ruin the awkward silence, but like, don't be afraid to email me. I always offer this and nobody does. So please, if you have any questions.
Email address?
Ken.Summers, SOMMERS, at sunrisescholars.org. And as Anthony alluded to on Instagram, I'm not sure we're quite a party, but you can follow us at Sunrise Scholars on Instagram as well.
Y'all been pretty active. I started following y'all, I think, over the summer or maybe after our presentation last year. I've been seeing y'all. Y'all been pretty active at the beginning of this year.
Better, yeah. And actually, it's gonna blow. I'm just a teaser. It's gonna blow up in the next week and a half. Just saying. Get in now.
Get in now before it's too hot.
And if you go there, you'll see the Anthony Cook from last night's school board presentation in Osceola County, and you can like it.
Okay, everybody. With that being said, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in. Remember, you can go back on the website and see this if you couldn't be here for the whole presentation. If you have people that you know would be interested in this, you can refer them to the website. That way they can see this. And I have it in the recording where the website information is right here on the screen, as well as Ken's email address, as well as their tagline on Instagram. So you can refer back to this if you ever want to reach out and get more information on the program itself, or just ask any questions. Like Ken said, he's here to help support. I'm here to help support as well. So you can DM me, email Ken. You got 2 people here that are just want to see y'all be successful after y'all leave the K-12 system. So with that being said, we'll see y'all next Wednesday, 6 p.m. FAFSA live session. Let's get that money, secure that bag, and pursue that post-secondary education. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Ken, thank you again so much for being on. Don't hop off yet. I'm going to close this from live, and then we'll touch base, make sure we're good.
Okay.